My name is Ria Uzieli. I'm here with Shomer Collective, which, if you're new, it's an organization that focuses on transforming culture around death and dying, which is what all of you do, using Jewish wisdom in particular. Today, that mission is helped by the lovely Rabbi Dan of the Ariel Jewish Healing Center, who will be leading us in a little bit of study in a minute around how Jewish wisdom can help enrich the work of doulas.
Thank you, Ria. Um, it's an honor to be teaching at this Doula Meetup. The Shomer Collective is doing such amazing work, and we as doulas are blessed to be able to take advantage of their many offerings as an essential support for our work. I say our work because as a congregational rabbi for more than 3 decades, I always thought of end of life work as the most sacred work I was privileged to do, and I'm proud to call myself an end of life doula. As Jewish end of life doulas, we're always looking for new tools for our toolbox in this holy work. A tool that I have found particularly useful in the work is actually the Torah, the sacred story of the Jewish people. You might think, of course, you're a rabbi. You have a knowledge and familiarity with the Torah that most doulas don't. Today, though, however, there are tools available that make the healing power of Torah available to doulas as well. So I've prepared a brief source sheet that Ria's put in the chat. My go-to, and I think the most valuable resource that I'm going to offer is a collection of short Torah reflections by the Bay Area Jewish Healing Center. And while the Healing Center has sadly closed in 2022, the Torah reflections are thankfully still available online on their website. The second resource I want to share is a new book that came out last year written by Rabbi Chaya Lerner called The Torah of Trauma. And Rabbi Chaya has shared some of her own stories together with a wide range of nuggets, stories from the breadth of the Jewish tradition. And I think this is a wonderful resource for Jewish healers, teachers, end-of-life doulas. And the third that I'm sharing today is something to check out. It's from Valley Beth Shalom, and it's a series of teachings by Rabbi Ed Feinstein, a rich compendium of commentaries that have wonderful insights and compelling stories of healing. So how would an end-of-life doula use one of these stories? Stories of healing have healing properties, healing energies that can uplift, inspire, bring light to people who are struggling, suffering, even in their dying process. So often when I visit folks who are in hospice, walking their end of life path, I ask them, would you like a blessing? And I submit that this is something you can ask as well if you haven't already done so with some of your clients. Now, sometimes the blessing comes from something I've heard from them on the visit. But part of my preparation process when I visit an end of life client is checking in on the weekly Torah portion, going to one of these websites and bringing a little special story with me just in case it seems like the person might appreciate it. So let's take a minute and see how this might work together. This is the Torah portion for this week. It's from the book of Deuteronomy. It's Parshat Akev. What I'd like to do is, you can see, that's the end. Well, go, there's a little bit right there. So it's really, the whole reflection is 3 paragraphs. The third paragraph's a little long, but it's 3 paragraphs. So it's not too daunting. This reflection was written by a colleague and friend, Rabbi Natan Fenner, and it's called Rending and Repairing. Um, and in the middle of Moses's monologue before the Israelites in this week's Torah reading, the aging prophet reminds the assembly of a shameful incident. You can see here. What I'd like is if we could have somebody just raise your hand and read a paragraph aloud. There's only 3 paragraphs. Might be a little more fun.
I see Rebecca Greenblatt.
Great. Rebecca.
In the middle of Moses' monologue before the Israelites in this week's Torah reading, the aging prophet reminds the assembly of a shameful incident. He recalls in Deuteronomy 9:11-12, at the very moment God was turning the stone tablets over to Moses atop Mount Sinai, the Israelites had begun worshipping a golden calf at the base of the mountain. A few weeks after being shepherded out of Egypt, the anxious community lost faith in its spiritual promise and began to stray from its covenant with God.
Thank you. Somebody be bold enough to read the second paragraph. Thank you, Barbara.
Moses notes that this pivotal moment in their journey, the Israelites were on the verge of self-destruction. God turns towards the chastised community, however, and offers a second chance. Moses is instructed to carve and inscribe a new set of stone tablets and bring them into the camp as a sign of a covenant with which is to be perpetuated between God and the people.
Thank you. We have somebody bring this home and complete the reading, the third paragraph.
Erica has raised her hand.
Thank you, Erica.
What a powerful image to preserve and carry within our sacred scriptures. Even after our ancestors humiliated themselves so profoundly, they are given the opportunity to reconnect with God and their future. At the same time, they and we are not allowed to forget this critical moment, for it holds many lessons, or at least poses many questions for us about the limits of our ability to control our world, and humility, about reconciliation and spiritual realignment, teshuvah, about how we may carry the legacy of our past misdeeds and acknowledge our brokenness. Elsewhere, we learn that the fragments of the first broken set of tablets, which Moses shattered at the scene of the golden calf, were to be kept in the sacred ark alongside the new set of tablets Moses inscribed when he reascended Mount Sinai. From that time on, the Israelites preserved, in the heart of camp, a physical reminder of its most difficult day together with the record of its enduring covenant. Now may be a fruitful time to reflect on a significant place of brokenness or regret in your life, and also to reflect on the enduring covenant or commitments you keep. As we look into our hearts or share with a companion in this sacred work, may we find renewed purpose, comfort, and blessing.
Thank you, Erica. Great. That's the reflection. I wondered if we had any thoughts right now on how this short insight, if we shared our own version of this story from the Torah, how we might use it as a blessing offered to one of our people who are in their end of life process. Anybody have any thoughts? Just take maybe a few responses to see how we might play with this and utilize this in our work.
Claire.
So I guess what comes up for me is having regrets about my brokenness. And so I would think that maybe people, as they are dying, feel regretful of whatever, of a possible variety of things they did or did not do. And that could be how to use this.
Beautiful. Thank you, Claire.
I think I see Abby's hand, unless she's just adjusting her
No,
keyboard.
that was right. I couldn't figure out how to raise my virtual hand.
I'm
I was going to say that in the training that I did, we learned about RUGS as an acronym for regret, unfinished business, guilt, and shame, which was such a powerful concept. And I think to maybe at this point be curious and ask someone, this is a teaching also about human curiosity and asking ourselves, are there things that we regret or places that you feel broken, as a way to elicit kind of an unburdening
Mm,
from someone at this moment in their life, which often can be a healing moment for them to unburden themselves from their regret, unfinished business, guilt, or shame.
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Abby.
I think I saw Laura's hand raised and then Sandra.
Let's take those two for right now. So Laura,
I would start with something positive in their life that they're proud of. And then I would go to regret.
mhm. Great. Thank you. Sandra?
So in my experience, when people are at their end of life, not necessarily their deathbed at the end of life, regrets definitely come up. The coulda. I offer an opportunity to share things that they may not, that they may have shame about, or they may have difficulty sharing, just to give them a foundational experience to be able to share maybe with their family and friends, and just opportunity to verbalize it with me in a safe space.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate appreciate these insights. I have to say that this is one of my favorite stories of healing in the Torah. The notion that the Ark of the Covenant, one of our people's most sacred objects, contained both the complete second set of tablets, along with the fragments of the broken first set of tablets. Our regrets, as others mentioned, our most painful mistakes have all been essential teachers, our sacred reminders of our humanity, and allow us to experience a sense of wholeness that is not possible without all of our brokenness. Our brokenness, our woundedness, if you will, is sacred and allows for a wholeness that we couldn't have possibly imagined or experienced without these challenges. I have to tell you that when I've shared this story with people in their end of life process and have blessed them that in this precious time, they have the wherewithal to honor their regrets, their mistakes, their most difficult life challenges as essential to their humanity, the completion of their lives. Because it comes from the Torah, it is empowering. It gives them permission in a way that is really unique. Now, this story has brought tears, powerful releases of pent-up energy, gratitude, wonder, a whole new perspective for folks who are reflecting on their own lives, or maybe struggling to reflect on their own lives. So this is just one example of how a story from the Torah, shaped by a healing consciousness, can open a portal into healing for someone who is in their dying process. I mean, stories have an enormous power. Stories that come from our tradition can open people up, can provide an entry to things that are difficult to reach through other means. I want to sort of take this tool that I've offered and I want to sort of massage it a little bit and invite you to think about it in a little different way. While I've suggested using the Torah as a source for healing stories to consider sharing with your clients, it's important to remember that our own sacred stories are the unfolding of the Torah in our time, our generation.